What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Whole Views, and today we have a very simple question for you. If you can only watch one, what you picking? Suicide Squad or Guardians of the Galaxy? Before we get started, let me just ask you one simple favor. Take that index finger, swipe down a bit, hit that subscribe button for your boy. It'll be deeply appreciated, and I appreciate everybody who stopped by to check this out. So, getting into these movies, on the surface, these two properties look like they are very, very different from each other. But once you kind of like pay closer attention, there's a lot of things that are similar, while some things really are different from movie to movie. Both helmed by James Gunn, both are comic book properties, but these two have very, very different tones and very different intended audiences. So let's do the parallels first and then get into why I chose what I chose, and you be certain to leave what you chose between these two in the comments below. Getting into the parallels first, both properties are very brightly colored action comedy sci-fi adventure films, right? You got Suicide Squad from the DC world, you have Guardians of the Galaxy from the Marvel universe. Both of these are very, very fun movies to sit down and watch. Thematically, you have a few parallels. One I like to draw between Thanos and his daughter, Gamora, and the conflict that they have and the weird relationship dynamic that they have. On the other side, with Suicide Squad, you have Bloodsport here and his daughter that have a horrible relationship, but it's portrayed in a very aggressive, aggravating type nature when you do see them on screen together. And eventually it gets to a certain point, while Thanos and his father-daughter relationship does not get to that same point. So there are some differences, but there is some parallels with that relationship. Thematically, two characters who share some similarities over the course of when you're looking at them. You have Ratcatcher, who is powered by controlling rodents, when then you have Rocket Raccoon, who is from the rodent family. The reason why I see a parallel between these two characters is that Ratcatcher, she is the one who controls the rats, and on a bus ride on the Suicide Squad, full spoilers by the way, she tells a very tragic backstory and is real like emotional, and it gets you kind of connected to that character. At the same time, we hear in the first Guardians, Rocket kind of explaining the science tests that were done on him and how they messed with him and how they poked and prodded at him. And it creates a whole lot of sympathy for that character, that there's a parallel to me when I look at her sad story, his sad story, both of them happening to help kind of galvanize the team a little bit and kind of bring the whole group closer together in both films. Just going character for character, there's a lot of characters with a lot of similarities in these two properties. First one I like to bring up is Drax, right? Played by a former wrestler, Dave Bautista. Big, burly guy who provides a whole lot of comedy, real good comedic timing, real great line delivery. At the same time, we have John Cena playing Peacemaker in Suicide Squad. Former wrestler, real big physical presence, but delivers some of the funniest lines throughout the movie. Both characters are kind of oblivious as to how they sound and to how their presence is portrayed on the screen. Good parallel between these two. I really like seeing both of them in their respective films, and I really feel like James Gunn did a good job with both of them. You also have two similar characters in one, I Am Groot, the Groot character from Guardians of the Galaxy, as well as the limited vocabulary of King Shark, just lumbering around and being himself. I really enjoyed Sylvester Stallone voicing that character. He was very limited in his communication skills, but he did have more words than Groot. At the same time, both of these guys could be menacing while on screen. I think back to Guardians, when Groot just like slammed his arm through a whole bunch of people at one time in that film, and it was like slightly terrifying, and he looks back and smiles. You see similar things happen repeatedly in Suicide Squad with King Shark. You have Sylvester Stallone just lumbering around whenever he's called for, handling some action. He totally mauls characters throughout the film. And one of the things that I like so much is that he has enough thought and enough expression to just give you some real funny moments. I think specifically to fake mustache. If you've seen the movie, the fake mustache thing was hilarious. Good laughs from both of these characters, but they are kind of parallel from one film to the other. One of the more obvious things that are parallel between these two films is the use of music. So Guardians Peter Quill is deeply influenced by that mixtape that he got. So music, very popular music, plays throughout the film, kind of connected to that character. In Suicide Squad, we saw music get used in the first one, and it wasn't that great to me. It was kind of like music videos in the movie. In the second one, they continued to use popular music, not as popular as Guardians of the Galaxy or even Suicide Squad 1. But the music here was kind of noteworthy, and it was used in a much better way in the second one than it was in the first Suicide Squad. So very good uses of music. I don't know if that's a James Gunn thing. I don't know if that's maybe a thematic holdover from Suicide Squad 1 to 2, but we do see popular music being used in a very good way in Guardians 1 and Suicide Squad 2. Now it comes down to the actual choice that I make, and again, in the comments, please let me know. There's really no wrong answer, but in my opinion, if I had to pick just one, it would be Suicide Squad, and here's why. Suicide Squad is not just a more adult themed movie, but I feel like the antagonists that you see throughout the movie are better and more memorable and create more memorable moments than what you see in Guardians of the Galaxy. If the Marvel Universe had any kind of shortcoming or had any weakness, everyone knows that weakness would be its horrible, underdeveloped villains. And when I think back to Guardians of the Galaxy, there's some great stuff in that first one. There's the opening credit scene with Peter dancing. There's the prison break scene. There's the dance off at the end. But even with the dance off being at the end, I think to myself as, what was the whole conflict about? Like, who was the bad guy? I had to remember it was Ronan. I had to really think hard about what was he even mad for to begin with. On the opposite side, we see the American government. You know, we see Waller and her being her regular sinister self, and we see people being manipulated over the course of the entire film, ultimately to hide secrets. We see a huge, very memorable character, Starro, who is kind of like that last boss that you got to get past, and even he wasn't really motivated by anything sinister, just wanted to be free and do his own thing. But his presence is something that you won't forget. Like, seeing all the visuals involving Starro is something that's going to be burned into your memory for way longer than you will ever probably think of Ronan down the line. Those are my thoughts. That's my choice. If I had to pick one to watch at any given moment, it would probably be Suicide Squad, unless I had my family present, in which case I would have to pick Guardians, because, you know, it's the family friendly, no cursing, no real blood one. But if I can just choose for me, Suicide Squad all day, because it just creates a better overall experience, more memorable to me. Again, let me know what you think in the comments below. I appreciate you stopping by. Enjoy yourself, guard your heart. Please come back and check out more videos.